Welcome back to a new episode of The Good Talk, and we have Chris Van Vliet.
Wow, what an intro. I feel like I need to pose or something.
Yeah, we got you back, man. Wow, it's been over a year since you've been here. Last time you were here was May 30th.
You had just built the studio.
Yeah.
Look at what you've built, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You've had this for over a year.
Over a year now. It's been a crazy, wild ride here in the studio. We've had so many great guests.
I think I've recorded close to 50 episodes here now, too.
Yes. Yeah, I think about 50, yes.
Yeah, this has become the LA home, the California, the West Coast home of Insight.
Yeah.
So thank you.
This is the home for Insight with Chris Van Vliet. Hey, congratulations on hitting 1 million followers on TikTok.
Thank you.
How does that feel?
It's wild. And what between Facebook and then 1 million subscribers on YouTube and now TikTok.
Yeah, congratulations on the clip channel too, getting 1 million followers.
Crazy, man. Yeah, thank you. It's been wild. Like, it's a number so big I can't wrap my head around.
Yeah.
It. Like, I remember sitting on your couch 4 years ago with like, I don't know, however many, 20,000 Instagram followers or something, and being like, man, could you imagine if one day me or you could hit 100,000, like that'd be crazy. Yeah, it's wild. It also speaks to like where wrestling is at right now. Like, wrestling's more popular than perhaps it's ever been.
Ever?
Maybe. Like, the Attitude Era was crazy in the late 90s with the Monday Night Wars, but you didn't have, like, the internet was existing at that time, but it wasn't where it was at now. So like, you've got this confluence now of like, wrestling is popular, streaming platforms are popular, and that's where Raw lives. The internet's at like everywhere. Like, people are looking at their phone more than they're looking at their TV. So I just think it's all of these things coming together, and my content exists on those screens. So it's like, it just speaks to where we're at right now with just the world of wrestling, the world of like content creation. I just feel super lucky.
And the thing is, you've only been doing this as far as like posting content, so much content for not that long, maybe just like a few years.
I think 3 years ago is when I was like, I saw somebody else's profile and they were posting a reel a day. So like 30 reels in 30 days to me felt insane. I couldn't even think of like 2 videos a month. But I was like, well, what if I could take my interviews and clip them up into smaller versions and then like do that every day? So it started as like a reel a day for 30 days, almost like a challenge. Like, could I do this?
Yeah.
And that took on a whole life of its own. So yeah, I'd say that the majority of the growth has been over the last 3-ish years. And that's also like, anybody who creates content, just know that there is no such thing as creating too much content. Like, if you post, I think I post something like 10-ish times a day per platform.
Yeah.
But I understand that not everybody in my audience is going to see all 10 of those posts. So if somebody that follows me sees one of them, somebody who doesn't follow me sees one of them, maybe I could, get a new person through that. But like, it's not like you're going to open up your phone and like swipe, and every single one of them is one of my posts. That's just not the way that the algorithm works. But I will say that going all in on just posting more changed my whole perspective of all of this.
Yeah.
I've probably said this to you before, but I like to think of clips as the breadcrumbs. So these are the breadcrumbs, it's 40 seconds, 50 seconds, whatever it happens to be. Chances are, if I send you a clip that's 40, 50 seconds, you might watch the whole thing. But if I sent you a link and said, man, this podcast was amazing, and you look at the runtime and it's 1 hour and 17 minutes, you're not even going to click play on that.
Yeah.
So I figure with clips, if I send it to you and the runtime is 46 seconds, you'll probably hit play and you might even watch the whole thing. That's the breadcrumb. If you like that, hopefully it leads to the slice of bread, which is 3 to 5 minute clips. And if you like that slice of bread, maybe you're hungry enough to look for the loaf of bread, which is the full entire episode that's 1 hour or 2. And that's kind of the way that I break it down.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's genius. That's so smart to do. I think Reels just really changed the game for everyone, for content creators like yourself, right? Alex Hermosi started doing this, started just putting so much content out there, and it worked for him, right? So I think that's the recipe, and I think you found your recipe, what works for you. And man, you're famous when we go to any wrestling event, man.
I don't know about that. I'm the person who gets to talk to the famous people.
Yeah.
Like, how fortunate am I to be able to sit on this side of the table and listen to conversations and hear stories from people like The Undertaker or Edge or John Cena or Dave Bautista or Bailey or whoever it happens to be. Like, how lucky am I that I get to do that?
How did your podcast even start? Like your YouTube channel? How did that come about?
Honestly, my YouTube channel started kind of by accident. So my original YouTube channel was in 2007. It wasn't anything associated with my name, but it was just the idea that like you would interview a celebrity or a band or an athlete. And I was doing this for the TV station that I worked for at the time. You would do an interview with someone huge like that, and it would only air on TV. So unless you were watching that specific channel on that specific day, so unless you're watching channel 19 on that Thursday at 4:14 p.m., you would never see this interview. And I just thought, well, that kind of sucks. Like, I'm really proud of this interview I did with whoever this big name star is. I would just love for other people to see this, and maybe some of those people's fans would appreciate this as well. I just started taking those raw, uncut interviews and putting them on my YouTube channel. Just like only as an idea of like, this will be the digital library where these interviews will exist.
Just as an archive.
Just as an archive. That's it. Like, and hopefully if someone was a big fan of who were some of the interviews I was doing at that time, Robert Pattinson or Steven Spielberg, or I did an interview with The Miz in 2011. If you were a fan of those people's work, hopefully you would find this on YouTube and maybe it would get a few hundred views. That's how it all began. And it was just me going, oh, cool. I got to interview this big name person. That'll air on TV. Cool. Fun segment. Let's just take the rest of it and put it online. Maybe someone can find it 5 years from now and appreciate it. Some of those interviews, though, just by nature of how the internet works, some of them were getting thousands. Some of them were getting tens of thousands of views. And that's kind of how it took off. And then I realized, oh, if I'm getting access to interview wrestlers specifically, and that was kind of a rare thing. We're going back 13, 14 years ago. To be a wrestling fan and to be able to interview pro wrestlers was kind of rare. Like a lot of times when they were doing interviews with mainstream media, the interviews were about, oh, Raw's this Monday, tickets start at $20. I was doing interviews where I'm like, hey, can we go back to like SummerSlam 1998? Like I really want to ask about this match. And it seemed that because I was speaking the language of pro wrestling, I was getting these incredible stories and this amazing insight, pun not intended. And that was like, I kind of found my niche through that. So 2, 3, 4 times a year, I was living in Cleveland at that time, working for the CBS affiliate, WOIO. Every few times a year, WWE would come to town, TNA would come to town, and I would get to interview people like Mick Foley, or The Miz was one of them. Dolph Ziggler was from Cleveland. Jeff Hardy. So those are some of the early interviews. I just did those interviews. We'd air a clip or two on the newscast, and then I would put the rest of it on YouTube. Some of those just started like gasoline got poured on the fire. I don't know how. I don't know why. And some of those overnight were getting tons of views. And I was like, I think I'm onto something here where like other wrestling fans appreciate these conversations as much as I do. Like they love them as much as I love doing them.
Yeah. No, it's great. The fact that you are a wrestling fan and you've been into like the wrestling kind of thing for a long, your name was Chris Sharp, right? That was your first wrestling.
That was my backyard wrestling name.
Take us back to like how you got into wrestling. And you used to do backyard wrestling too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's clips out there of me as a backyard wrestler.
Insert the clip.
Yeah. Oh, look at that swanton bomb. It all started with a good friend of mine who, if you go back in time, when you were really good friends with somebody in the 90s, you talked on the phone with them. Like that was the thing. You got home from school and you picked up the phone, beep, boop, 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 beep, beep, boop, and you called them, right? And you would just chat about all kinds of things. And my buddy was really into fishing. That was the thing that like brought us together, but he was also into wrestling. And I wasn't. I was on the high school wrestling team, but you were kind of always taught like as an amateur wrestler, like what we do in here, this is real. What we do on the mat, this is real. And that stuff on TV, that's fake. But one Monday night we were talking on the phone, and at 9 p.m. Raw was about to start that Monday night, and our call had to abruptly come to an end. He's like, I gotta go. Raw is starting. And we weren't done talking about whatever we were talking about. And I said, all right, I'll I'll turn it on, and at the next commercial break, we can finish talking about what we were talking about. Turned it on, and I was instantly hooked. It was Raw. Vince McMahon versus Stone Cold was the main storyline of that time on Raw. And I was just like sucked in by the larger than life characters. Like I saw so much of myself in them. And I went from not watching any wrestling to watching everything. I was like, I dove head first. And you know this about me. I'm the type of person that I don't check the depth of the water. I don't check the temperature of the water. I just dive in and we'll figure it out when we get in there. And that's what it was for me in wrestling. And then a few months later, my friend of ours had a trampoline and we were like doing moves on the trampoline that we saw on TV. Then we found out a friend of a friend had this backyard wrestling league, the HCW, Hardcore Championship Wrestling. I developed this heel character, Chris Sharp, who nobody liked. Chris Sharp was a mean guy. And that was kind of it. And like I existed in this world where like it was wrestling and fishing. There was actually a guy at school, in high school, that called me Fishing Wrestling. That was his nickname for me. Hey, Fishing Wrestling, what's up? Because it was the only two things I talked about. Fishing Wrestling. But those were like my real passion. Still to this day. Like bass fishing and pro wrestling, I love them so much.
Did you have a move that you liked to do back then? Favorite move?
My finishing move was the Swanton Bomb, which was Jeff Hardy's finishing move. Still is Jeff Hardy's.
That was one of my favorite moves too. The Hardy Boys were like my favorite guys. Yeah.
The Hardy Boys meant a lot to me. And like, it's so cool now, fast forward all these years later, I've interviewed Matt and Jeff together and also independently a number of times. They're legends and they're still doing it, which is crazy. Like, I wonder how much longer they'll be able to do it for, but those guys are absolute legends. But yes, there are clips out there of me doing many a Swanton bombs.
Yeah. I saw a clip of you doing the rock bottom. Dude, that rock bottoms has to be one of the best rock bottoms. Could it be better than the rocks?
You said it, not me.
Hey, it's pretty good.
And definitely
if people haven't seen this rock bottom, insert the clip because this rock bottom, dude, that was insane. Like you did that like you've been doing that your entire life.
Thank you. And I've probably in my life done thousands of rock bottoms, all of them on a trampoline with like very willing friends or opponents in like, you know, some sort of like ridiculous make-believe trampoline wrestling. All of the credit goes to Brock Hall, who made me look like $1 million. So this segment was set up at ACW, which is an independent wrestling company owned by Hornswoggle. So we're in Wisconsin for this. And he sets up this segment. I was the host of the show that night. And we set up the segment where I'm out there hyping up the crowd. Santino Marella comes out. He's a legend. So we're both hyping up the crowd together. And out of nowhere, Brock Hall's music hits and he's a mega heel. The crowd hates this guy. And what's so brilliant is he comes out to the New Kids on the Block song, Hangin' Tough. And the crowd chants, oh, Brock Hall sucks. It's the coolest thing to be part of this. Like everybody in there, sold out crowd is chanting Brock Hall sucks. So we have this segment, we're going back and forth and he's like, hey man, how dare you like come out here and, you know, be in my ring. And I'm like, hey man, I know who you are. You're that guy who sucks. Now the crowd's hating on him even more. He goes to swing on me. He misses. I catch him in the rock bottom. And we talked about this earlier in the day. And I said, just please try to make me look good. Like whatever you do, when I slap my left hand on your back and we bend down, please just jump. And he's like, oh, I got you. I'm going to make you look great. So I caught him. I looked around, like I really took in the moment. And you can kind of hear the crowd going, oh, like they know what's going to come next. And I put my hand there. We both bent down. He jumped up so high and I landed it down. And I guess because I had done the rock bottom so many times in the past on a trampoline as a kid, I'm just so used to like you automatically spring back up. And you know, the ring has a little bit of give, but there was just something about the way that we landed it where my momentum was already going back up and I stood right back up on my feet. And I've only done 2 rock bottoms ever in a ring. One was at Prime Wrestling, and then there was this one at ACW. And both times I was able to land it and stand back up. And like, there's a brief moment, maybe you can even see it in the clip, where I like, can't believe that worked.
You're surprised.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't believe I actually landed.
You look like a natural. You bounced right back up onto your feet. You did the Chris Sharp look, looked around, and it was amazing. Incredible rock bottom.
I feel like my backyard wrestling character, Chris Sharp, came out for like 8 seconds there. There's a lot of risk there. And I don't mean risk in like somebody getting hurt, which is always possible when you do anything in a wrestling ring. But there's a lot of risk when you go for the rock bottom and you commit to like, I'm going to try to stand back up on this, which is the way The Rock used to do it. The Rock now just plants them down and like, that's it. When you're committing to like I'm going to plant them and then also try to stand back up on your feet, a lot can go wrong. Like I could have fallen on my face. I could have stumbled backwards and fallen back. I feel like I got really lucky that landed perfectly.
That was amazing. When I saw that rock bottom, I'm like, wow, that was great.
I couldn't believe it. People seem to think that because I landed a rock bottom, I could now have like a match. Let's not get crazy, people. Okay, let's not get crazy. It was just a rock bottom, but there might be another rock bottom in my back pocket here. So who knows? I might have another one up my sleeve.
What's another move that you'd like to try inside the ring?
I did a lot of twist of fates when I was a backyard wrestler. So that's the Matt Hardy or Jeff Hardy move, swinging neck breaker, basically. Look, I'll try anything.
Yeah.
I would, like I told you earlier, the Swanton Bomb is my move as a backyard wrestler. I think I'd be really scared to get up on the top rope and try a Swanton Bomb, but I also think that the only way to overcome fear is by looking it right in the face. So maybe I got a Swanton Bomb up my sleeve.
So when's the next time you're going to be in the ring?
Well, between the first rock bottom and the next rock bottom was, I believe, 12 years. So I think sometime 12 years from now. I don't know. Hey, look, the thing about wrestling is never say never. But I also think that I can't be out every single weekend at every single independent show throwing rock bottoms around, and people will start to expect it. I think it'd be cool that every once in a while we plant one on somebody.
That's true.
I got to show this to The Rock too.
Yeah.
I feel
When's your next interview with The Rock?
Excellent question. You think we can get The Rock in here?
If we can get The Rock in here.
Like Smashing Machine's going to be such a big movie in the fact that like we're seeing The Rock in a completely different setting. Like there's a lot of meat on the bone of that character. And the fact that it's like, based on Mark Kerr and like the real life story of his life, I feel like we're going to see a completely different side of The Rock. I would think instead of a 4 or 5 minute junket interview, I would think The Rock would want to sit down for an hour-long conversation to dive into all of that. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
We're going to put that out into the world.
Let's go.
Rock. Dwayne, please join us. It'd be so great to have you in the studio.
That would be incredible. And then to be able to talk about the movie, that movie's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see that.
An hour's not going to be enough time with The Rock.
You're going to need more time.
I need about 14 hours to ask him all the questions I have for him.
Can you believe it's already June, man, 2025, halfway through the year?
Yeah, wild.
That's crazy. What has changed in your life in the past year?
Well,
in the past half year of 2025.
Well, we welcomed another baby.
Well, congratulations.
That's probably the biggest one. December 17th, 2024 is when my son Cooper was born. And then our little girl Logan just turned 2 on May 29th. That, without any hyperbole, has changed my life. Becoming a father has been the biggest change in my life in so many different ways. I think the biggest is it reminds you of what's important. It also reminds you of like what to stay focused on. Because I think that we get into this habit of like being busy for the sake of being busy. And there's a big difference between being busy and being productive. And I have done my very best to try to focus on being productive and also trying to be as present as I can possibly be for not just Logan and Cooper, but also for my wife, Rachel. So yeah, that's been the biggest thing. And in terms of content, I just feel like the guests somehow keep getting bigger. The show somehow continues to grow. And like every month we do a recap of like, here's the top 5 episodes of the month. Actually, as we record this right now, I just posted like, here was the top 5 episodes of the month for June. Rhea Ripley was number 1. And every month when I look at those, and that's only 5 of the guests that we had that month. Every month I look at it and I go, how did we get these 5 people to say yes? Knowing that there's 8 or 10 or 12 guests that month, how did we get all of these people to say yes? And also to say yes to doing it in person, and also say yes to an hour-ish conversation. All of that blows my mind, man.
What are some of your favorite interviews you've done in the past 6 months?
You've
done a lot.
Yeah, it's been crazy. The Seth Rollins one to kick off the year was awesome. Like that was such a cool thing. It was right before Raw debuted on Netflix, and there was a ton going into the storyline he had at that time with CM Punk. But Seth Rollins is like one of the very best right now. And he's so good at like making whoever he's in the ring with look like amazing. So I think that one to kick off the year was huge. A few weeks after that, got to sit down with both Matt and Jeff Hardy. Flew to Dallas to do that interview. And those guys meant so much to me growing up. Like there was something about the way that they wrestled, especially as a tag team, which I'd never seen done before. So that was a really cool one. And Jeff Hardy doesn't do long, in-depth sit-down interviews at all. So for him to be able to trust me and trust me to talk about some of the sensitive topics we talked about during that interview, it meant a lot to me. So, but there's been so many, like the Rhea Ripley interview that we just did in New York. That was a huge one. Like she's such a megastar. But I feel like every interview before it happens is the biggest interview. Like I put so much time, so much effort, so much thought into each conversation that like it truly feels like whoever it is, like that's a big interview.
How do you balance your work life and your personal life? Because you've been traveling so much. You've been going New York, Nashville, a bunch of different places, right? So how do you balance your work life and your personal life?
I've got some amazing people that work on the show with me that are far more talented than I am at the things that they do. That's helped so much. Because there was a point a few years ago where I was doing everything. I was shooting the interviews, and I was booking the interviews, and I was researching the interviews, and I was editing them, and I was transcribing them, and I was promoting, like wearing all of the hats. And to be able to, at one point, be able to go, maybe I could find someone to just edit this. I'm not a great editor. I know how to edit, but I'm like a 6 out of 10 editor. What if I could find someone who's a 10 out of 10 editor who does this all the time? Not only would they do it better, they do it way faster as well. And then it would free up time for me to do what I'd like to focus on more, which is actually having the great conversations and diving into that research. I think that's been a big part of it, is having people who are far more talented than I am, taking care of the things and in doing the things, diving into the things that I'm not that great at. So I think that that's been a really big part of it. But when I made the commitment 2 years ago to do all of these interviews in person, just because I think it's a much better conversation to be able to look someone in the eye, shake their hand, give them a hug. When I made that commitment, I knew that something would have to give. So if that meant I was editing less or I was transcribing less or whatever it happened to be, okay, cool. And the cool thing about the creator culture that we're in right now is if my show continues to grow, that means that other creators are able to also grow with it. So if you're an aspiring editor or you're an aspiring videographer or whatever, an audio engineer, whatever your skill set is, as my show continues to grow, that gives you an opportunity to grow as well and live your dream as well. And that's been the coolest thing about this, is like saying to other people who are passionate about just creating great content, saying to them like, hey, you want to come along for this ride with me? Like, dude, I'm so grateful that I get to use your studio when I record here in LA. That's been one of the coolest things. Like we've been friends for years, and then we also get to like work together.
Yeah,
how awesome is that?
It's incredible. I love it.
Yeah, so cool.
We have a great friendship and a great working relationship too.
Yeah.
And you invited me to Money in the Bank. Yeah. And that was amazing. I started watching wrestling more because of you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm meeting all these like wrestling. Yeah.
One of us.
That was awesome. So we went to Money in the Bank, right?
Yeah.
And man, you're a celebrity, man. When you go to these events,
I don't know about that.
people come up to you, want pictures with you. All these different people just know who you are, right? Especially in the wrestling world. What do all these fans or people that watch your content mean to you?
Look, I'm one of them as well. Like, that's the crazy thing. Like, I'm a wrestling fan as well. I'm a wrestling fan, though, who gets the incredible opportunity to share conversations with people who are the very best at what they do. So I think the cool thing about someone saying, hey, I've seen your videos before, or hey, I enjoy your podcast. The great thing about that is we create in a bubble. Like, think about what you and I are doing right now. It's me and you in a room, and that's it. There's nobody else in this room. There's 3 cameras and 2 microphones, but there are only 2 humans in here. And it's a nice reminder that on the other side of these cameras, there's people. And that's the coolest part about it, is you create so much in a vacuum that sometimes you forget that on the other side of this are people who are watching this on their phone or on their laptop or tablet or on their TV. That's the nicest reminder. And also, it's just cool that we have this thing in common, this like hyper passion for this lovely thing that we call pro wrestling, and that we can come together and connect on that. Like, it's just like that scene in Step Brothers. Did we just become best friends? Yep. Like, it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what you do for a living, but like, you like wrestling and I like wrestling. Boom. That's it. We're best friends.
So much in
now.
common.
That's it.
Right off the bat.
Yep. Now we have a endless amount of things to talk about.
Yeah. That's exactly how I feel about when I meet like a UFC fan.
Sure.
You know, talking about UFC, we just went to UFC 317.
What a weekend.
What a weekend.
What a weekend.
Man.
What a main event too.
Dude, Charles versus Topuria. The way that ended was the best way. Best case scenario for Topuria. And I guess for us too. I was rooting for Topuria to win that fight. And the way he did it with that knockout was incredible. The stadium went crazy.
Well, he went into that fight undefeated, 16-0, and he was the favorite, like pretty heavy favorite going into that. But I was like, could he, like, will he remain undefeated? Like, Charles is not like, he's no joke, right? It's going to be a great fight. But Ilya just, like, he has no wasted movements. Like, everything is so sharp, so crisp. And he knocked him out like it was like the most targeted attack, like the most targeted punch of like, I'm going to hit you here, here, and here. 1, 2, 3. Boom.
He's a new Conor McGregor. There's so many similarities that have been coming out with him and Conor nowadays.
At like the stage of his career where he's at now.
Yeah, they were both 28 when they both got champ status.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Aren't they like both, wasn't it 8-0 in UFC or something? Like they've got a lot of similarities.
A lot of similarities, yeah. I don't know. Will that fight ever happen? Who knows?
Ilya and Conor?
Yeah,
well, is Conor ever going to fight again?
I don't know.
I feel like he doesn't need to.
I don't think he definitely doesn't need to.
Because there's so much, like it's such a lose-lose situation for him. Because if he wins the fight, it's like, all right, you've won lots of fights in UFC. But if he loses, it's like, that proving the haters right.
Yeah.
Like you can't win.
It would be such a big fight though. But I think the
Huge.
fight that will happen is going to be Paddy Pimblett because he walked into the cage.
Yeah. Why was Dana White so upset about that?
I don't know.
Like that was the most exciting thing to happen in UFC in a long time.
Yeah. I don't know. He said he wasn't there. So.
Yeah, but even like, he's like, if I was there, I wouldn't have let that happen. It's like, what? Like that face off and Ilya pushing Paddy, like that was fun. It made me.
Great promo.
It reminded me of the UFC that I loved in like the mid 2000s. Like I'm reminded of like the GSP promo. I was not impressed by your performance. Like I love that type of stuff.
Yeah, no, it was a great event. Was that the first time you've experienced something like that? Like that, like an event like that, the UFC?
I've been to
meeting so many people.
Yeah, that was crazy. We met everybody.
Yeah,
we saw everybody.
Our seats were right by where we people walk by,
right by the ramp there.
Yeah,
I've been to 5 UFC in person, 5 UFCs. But I've been watching UFC since I was like 15. Like I remember finding it in like this back corner of Blockbuster on VHS. I remember being like, what is the Ultimate Fighting Championship? Turning it over and being like, that little dude against that giant dude? Like what? And remember their tagline back then was like, there's no rules. I'm like, no rules? Like we're going to see a street fight inside a cage? I was hooked.
Yeah.
I remember one New Year's, actually it was the same buddy that got me into pro wrestling. One New Year's when we were like 15, I think, we just rented like 5 UFCs and we just like boom, boom, boom. We watched them that evening. We watched them the next day and I've loved it ever since. So it's so cool to like, yeah, there's nothing like seeing in person.
Yeah.
Nothing like seeing it in person.
Incredible. It's the vibe, the people there. Everyone goes crazy.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I had such a good time there. We got to meet a bunch of different people. Amanda Nunes, Kayla Harrison, Justin Gaethje, Israel was there. Volkanovski. Man, so many wee-wees. Oh, man, dude. I was like a kid in a candy store, just like meeting all these different UFC fighters because I've been a UFC fan for a long time. And you know me, I don't miss a UFC pay-per-view fight. So to be there in the building watching this and the way like it ended with that knockout.
Yeah. And it was so full circle for you and I because we've been friends basically since I moved to LA 5 years ago. And how many Saturday nights did we spend on your couch watching UFC and like then fast forward 5 years later to like be there watching it with such insane seats. So shout out to On Location for making that happen. We walked in the octagon afterwards.
Yes.
Like looking at the splattered blood everywhere.
Insert clip.
It was so cool, man. So it was just so funny that like when they said that I could bring a guest because it was 2 tickets, I'm like, well, it's got to be Zeus. Well, first in all fairness, I said, well, let's see if Rachel can come. And Rachel was like, I think it's going to be tough. Grandma's out of town. I don't know if we could be away for 2 nights. The kids clearly can't come to a UFC event.
Thank you, Rachel.
So yeah,
thank you.
You owe Rachel. You gotta like send her a box of donuts.
I know. Rachel loves what kind of donuts you like. I'll send her a box of donuts.
She will eat any donut. any donut. Who's your all-time GOAT in UFC?
Man, it's a loaded question, but I would have to say, I would have to go, I think, GSP, man.
Yeah, me too.
GSP, I think Mighty Mouse, even though he was never really like popular, but also Mighty Mouse has just always been so good. So I think, but GSP, I think, has to be there.
I'm so biased because I'm Canadian. And like, and there's just this thing when you're a Canadian, you just root for other Canadians, whether they're actors or comedians or athletes, whatever it is. You're like, fellow Canadian. So when I found out that GSP was Canadian, I was like, well, he's my guy. And he's just so like, GSP's like the golden boy, right?
Yeah.
Like GSP did no wrong. Like
inside of the ring, one of the greatest.
Yes.
If not the greatest. Outside of the ring,
GOAT human.
Yeah.
GOAT human.
Even now, like, have you seen him? He's in like incredible shape still.
Yeah. Well, I think he's like my age. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And dude, he's
still go.
jacked.
Yeah. I saw him at Fanatics
GSP,
Fest.
yeah.
Saw him at Fanatics Fest briefly. I was just like, oh, there he is.
Yeah.
The GOAT.
He's so humble.
Yeah.
I feel like every time I see him on a podcast or anywhere else, he just talks like he's not famous. Like
nobody has anything bad to say about him.
The perfect guy.
Love GSP.
Yeah. What about you? Would you say GSP too?
How can you say anyone else?
Yeah.
When you're a Canadian who grew up, that was like the big era too. I remember sitting in someone's basement. It was like a friend of a friend. Remember how hard it was to like, paying for UFC when you were younger was like, oh my gosh. But then you found out like, oh, somebody's ordering it. If you just come over and bring a few beers, you can watch. I remember watching GSP versus Matt Serra in someone's basement and being like, what? GSP's going to lose? And then like, sure enough, he did lose. I was like, that blew my mind.
Yeah. Everyone's heartbroken after that. And then he came back and he won it. He got that revenge.
Yeah, he avenged his loss. But I remember watching that live and just like, what did we just witness? This is crazy.
Yeah.
I also got to see GSP fight live in Rogers Center in Toronto in 2011, I believe that was. Randy Couture's last UFC. I think it was UFC 129. I could be off by a few, but I think it was UFC 1. I think. I mean, look, we have all the world's information in our pocket. I don't want to get it wrong, and then people will be like, this guy knows nothing. He thinks it was UFC 129.
It was so long ago.
It was UFC 129. Oh, good.
Nice. Wow, you have really good memory.
St. Pierre versus Shields.
Nice.
Okay, got it right.
All right, so we got about 20 minutes left, and I want to do something pretty fun. So I got a little surprise. And
A surprise. Okay.
got a little surprise. So what I got here is this box. And in this box.
What's in the box? Like 7.
In this box, I got another box of Topps Chrome cards
Okay.
for WWE.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to open these cards together.
Oh, man.
And whichever cards you open, you get to keep.
Whoa. What if I get like a 1 of 1?
1 of 1, well, you get to keep that. And here you go. This is where you can safe keep them.
Okay. Wow.
You can put
Are
them
you
in
into
here.
cards now?
What's up?
Are you into cards now?
You know, I got some UFC cards, and yeah, I think cards are pretty cool just to collect them and stuff. So
Yeah, I collect a
and
few.
I thought this would be something fun to do, you know, something cool to like open some cards.
Okay.
I got these two if you want to put them in some sleeves.
Okay.
If you get any really good cards,
Ooh.
you can put them in here.
Well, look at this. We've got 3 exclusive sepia refractors per box. Chase the Persona exclusive insert cards. Okay.
All right,
Topps Chrome 2025. Well,
wanna-
I'll let you crack this open.
All right, here, I'll open this.
Let you crack that open. You're going to have to let me know if I get something good.
Well, you're gonna open whatever cards you're gonna keep.
Okay.
So
Wow.
you'll know. Here we go.
Here we go. I think about that Mike Goldberg all the time. Herb Dean, our referee. Here we go.
All right, so we got
Fight Clock brought to you.
these are from this year. So I think we're gonna get some good ones. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Yeah,
So
well,
we got the packs here.
All right.
Let's start off here. Let's
We're ripping packs.
go. Here, you go the first one.
Okay.
Open them and then put them down. Or actually, you know what? Open it and then just like pick one.
Okay. Open them and pick one.
Try not to look. There we go.
Okay. All right. I'll just show you what I got right there.
Oh, that's a good one.
CM Punk.
That's a good one.
Okay, we start. Boom. Start
That's a
off
good
with.
one.
Should I show you everything? CM
Yeah.
Punk. We got. That's a good one too. Jade Cargill.
Jade Carter. Let me see.
She's a beast.
Okay.
So Jade Cargill. We're gonna put these down. Andre Chase.
Okay.
There's only 4 per pack. Oh my goodness.
Who's that?
This was Authors of Pain.
Okay.
This is funny. This is from 2025, and some of these people aren't even with the company
Really?
anymore. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Okay, your
All
turn.
right, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Fight Clock brought to you by. Trying to think of some
Oh,
sponsor.
let me see.
Did I see Stone Cold
Okay,
Steve
so-
Austin?
Hmm?
Did I see Stone Cold Steve Austin?
No.
there?
So I might not know some of these, so you're gonna
Okay,
have,
I got
but
you.
you will for sure. So, okay, who's this guy?
Tommaso Ciampa, good friend. What's up, Tommaso? Yeah.
Okay, and then
All right.
also, have any of these people been on your podcast? Start off with the ones you got.
Well, I've interviewed CM Punk briefly years ago. Same with Jade Cargill. Tommaso has been on the full podcast.
Okay.
So go check out the episode with Tommaso Ciampa from late 2023. Gotta have him back on. All right, so Tommaso Ciampa.
Then I got. Ooh, I like her.
Oh, yeah, Solruka.
Soruka.
That looks like a-
She's good.
That looks like a fancy card. Let me see.
Oh,
The corner's ruined now.
No. Here you go.
This could be Solruka's rookie
I like
card.
her. She's so good. Like when I've seen her, she's in NXT, right?
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. She's super athletic.
Okay.
Soruka, yeah.
Okay.
She's one of my faves to like to watch. She's super athletic.
Valhalla. Unfortunately, not with WWE anymore.
No?
This is so funny.
They're supposed to be 2020.
Sarah Logan's great.
Okay. Ooh.
Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch.
The legend. She's been on the show.
Yeah?
Yeah, we got to get her back on
We
the show.
saw her at Money in the Bank.
We did. We don't
We
like
saw
her.
her at the press conference.
We don't like
No.
Becky Lynch anymore.
The
She's
man.
mean.
The man. All right, here we go.
Here we go.
You're next.
You know why he says here? You know why he says it? Do you know
Why?
what the story is?
No.
Because it used to be Fight Clock brought to you by Bud Light. Here we go. That's because that was their catchphrase for a long time.
For Bud Light?
Yes. That's why he would say
wow.
that. Fight Clock brought to you by Bud Light. Here we go. Oh my
see what you got.
goodness. We got the game.
No, that's a good one.
Triple H.
Damn, that's a good one. I'm a little jealous of that one.
You got Triple H. Yeah, that's a good card. Then we got L.A. Knight.
That's a good one too.
L.A. Knight. Yeah. You can see he's saying yeah.
You got two good ones right there.
Ren Sinclair.
Who's
It's an NXT card.
okay?
And Roxanne Perez. This is funny. This is an NXT card, but she's now on the main roster. So
Roxanne Perez.
This is what's so crazy. So much changes so quickly in
Yeah.
WWE. Okay, I think I'm winning right now by far.
You really are winning.
I don't know if this is a competition, but
It's not, but you got some good cards.
yeah.
I might.
I don't know if they're worth anything.
No.
I don't know. These ones seem special.
Maybe we can get him signed.
Sure.
Here we go. Let's see. Oh, I don't know who this is. So
I got you. Oh, that is a legend. Bray Wyatt is an absolute legend.
yeah. Has he been on your podcast?
I never got a chance to talk to him. May he rest in peace.
Bray. Oh,
He's not with us anymore.
got you. All
But
right. Well,
what a legend taken from us far too soon. Wow,
right.
great card.
Big John Stud.
Well, a legendary card.
These are
Well,
like legends, I
this
guess.
is a throwback. Well, Bray Wyatt just passed away a few years ago, far too early. He was like 36 when he passed away.
Okay, Big John Stud. Oh, Carlito.
Carlito, see, he's not with the company anymore.
Well, he
either.
just got let go, huh?
It's so funny how much changes so quickly.
Yeah.
But love Carlito. He's been on the show.
He's been on your show, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what's
My
next.
live guest in Indianapolis.
Oh, this is a good one. Liv Morgan.
Hey, that's your best card, maybe.
That's my best card.
That and Bray Wyatt.
Let's see if I can have her sign this card, maybe.
Okay, well, we'll
One
have
of
to get
these
her in
days.
here.
Liv Morgan, I like this one.
She's in LA a lot. Okay. Is it
Yeah.
we got 3
Here you
packs
go.
left?
Yeah.
Okay. Rip them.
Let's see.
Dexter Loomis, part of
he
the
still in the-
Wyatt Six.
Is he still in WWE?
Yeah, part of the Wyatt Six.
Okay.
Izzy Dame. NXT. Oh, this is a fancy card here. Natalia. Love Natalia. Love Natty.
She been on your pod?
She was my live guest in Toronto. She's been on my show many times, but that's a good one.
She was on one of your live
Yeah.
live podcasts? Okay.
Yeah. The
When did you
boat.
start doing live podcasts?
This year? So my very first live show was Indianapolis, the day before the day before Royal Rumble. We kicked off the weekend with doing this live show at 5 p.m. Then it led right into SmackDown right after. It's just so fun to get that many people who are just like hyped up, love wrestling, in there to just listen to a great conversation, be entertained for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's been fun. We've done 5 of them now.
Okay.
And then
How has that changed your podcast, doing live shows?
I think it's just been so cool seeing the people who listen to the show and being able to look at them in the face and be like, thank you. Thank you for like making all of this happen.
Yeah.
That's how it's changed.
I was there for the Ethan Page
live
live show. That was awesome. You're so good with fans.
Oh,
You're
Thanks,
you're
man.
amazing with fans.
I mean, how could I not be?
Well, some people aren't.
But if they don't listen to the show, if they don't watch the clips, there's no show.
It's true.
So, all right, who you got?
Noam Dar. Who's this?
Dar. Is that an NXT card?
I'm not sure.
He's been with the company a while.
Okay. He's still with the company?
I believe so.
Okay, I got Charlie Dempsey.
Oh, yeah, legend. Yeah,
Yeah?
Charlie Dempsey. Well, not legend, but his dad is the legendary William Regal. He's doing big stuff in NXT.
It's NXT now.
Yeah.
Okay. Danny Palmer.
Yeah, another NXT star. Wow, why are we getting so many NXT stars?
I don't know. Let's see.
Got a lot of cards here.
Tongaloa.
Tongaloa, part of the bloodline.
Bloodline?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we got there's one pack left.
One pack. Let you do the honors.
I get to do it. All right, here we go. It all comes down to this. It all comes down.
Last
to
four
this.
cards.
Sean Spears. Oh, one of my good friends.
Okay.
Sean Spears, fellow Canadian, been tearing it up in NXT recently. Then we got Sami Zayn. This is a numbered card. I think this is the best card we've got. This is a numbered card. Yeah. What's a numbered card? It's 81 of 150.
Oh, okay.
Limited edition.
It's a good one then.
It's a refractor, I think, right? Yeah, that's a good one. Lexus King, another good friend of mine. Brian Pillman Jr., we got your card.
And the last one.
Also, Authors of Pain. So these guys go together as a tag team.
Oh.
There we go.
Nice.
That's our tag team.
And
okay.
There we go.
That's it.
We got the cards. We got some good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You going to get some of these graded?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see. Maybe a couple of them. Man, well, dude, thanks for coming to the podcast. When is your next live show?
August 1st, New York City. It's going to kick off the very first 2-day SummerSlam happening there. I can't wait. These live shows have been so much fun. And there's just a different element of like getting that many people in the room together. You heard them chanting and laughing, and it was just a blast.
Yeah.
So cvvtix.com, cvvtix.com for people who are going to be in the New York, New Jersey area for SummerSlam, or just people who happen to live in that area. Would love to have you come out and enjoy the show.
One thing I love that you do in the live shows is that you give away things. You give away little pillows.
Yeah, we raffled off
the
big shots.
Yeah, the big shots.
They're like little Wrestle Buddies. You have one in here somewhere. The Wrestle Buddies have been so much fun. Like they're an iconic, nostalgic thing from when we grew up.
Yeah.
All of us like tried out our wrestling moves that we watched on TV on our Wrestle Buddies. And now that Big Shots has kind of brought this back, like I say this all the time, but nostalgia is a hell of a drug. And you see that in wrestling more than anything else. Like that feeling you get when you hear that song or you see that person, it's just so powerful. And the Big Shots, I think, really like factor into that a lot of like, oh man, even though I'm a 42-year-old man now, I remember those things from when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, your live shows are incredible. And hey, you need to check out a CVV live show.
Thank you, man.
Because
Inside
they're
Live,
awesome.
come on out.
Inside Live. Let's go. Hey, man, thanks for coming on to the podcast again.
Man, thank you for having me back.
And
congrats to you on everything you've built too.
Thank you. It's been a wild ride, and we're going to keep building, keep growing.
Let's go.
Let's go. Thanks.